This is Tony, and here's a few tips on how to do a little bit of architecture, photography. And so what I'm doing right here, there's a building right here, and this is a building that a couple friends of mine own, and it's a dance hall. It's a B&B. It's a mercantile. It's called the McKittrick Mercantile, and it's right on the Katy Trail. So right over here is the Katy Trail. So if you're a bike rider, you would be, this is just a little bit north of Herman. So anyway, so it's really kind of a wonderful romantic kind of spot, and also a great place to take pictures. So I thought I would just shoot pictures of this building here and kind of walk through so you can kind of get an idea of how to do something like this. So first off, the shot that I would shoot right here with my camera is I'm going to work on my ISO. So definitely you want to make sure that you set your ISO at kind of a lower ISO, and if at all possible, if you shoot on a tripod, you'll get much better results. And so I think that that's really a good way to start. If you shoot architecture, one of the things to pay attention to is where's the light coming from. And so you can see right now, the front of this building, there's no light. And so if I were really going to be doing a shot where I thought, oh, okay, this is going to be somewhat important, I would definitely shoot it in the morning, because as I'm standing here right now, this building faces east, and I would be much a nicer shot in the morning to get a shot. So right now it's not optimum, but I'm going to show you what you can do to take care of that. You can shoot these pictures with a point-and-shoot camera. I just happen to have my digital SLR out here right now, but I'm actually shooting this video with a point-and-shoot, a Canon point-and-shoot camera, and I'm going to shoot a shot right now of this building. Now, because every once in a while you might get in a position where you can't always take a picture where the light is optimum. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot a picture with my camera, and I'm going to shoot 3 different exposures. And like it says in the assignment, you want to shoot one exposure where it's -2 on the exposure compensation dial, one that's at 0.0, and the other one where it's +2. And the combination of those 3 exposures, when you use it in the right software, and you can use it in Photoshop. Photoshop has a capability of handling these HDR files, and also a software called Photomatics, which has a link in our in the class links. So I'm going to shoot these 3 shots, and then the next shot that you will see will be the results from those 3 shots on a picture that would normally have the front of this building looking very shady. Okay, for the assignment, I want you to shoot 5 shots of the outside of a building. And so, you know, one shot obviously might be this kind of a shot. So at least I have some sun on the front, on the side of the building here. But when you're shooting these kinds of pictures, you know, obviously the easiest one to get is where you're just right up in front of the building. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look around, and I'm going to see over here, I don't really have any kind of vantage point, but there might be a shot where I can shoot from underneath that tree and kind of frame the building with you know, something from the limbs of that tree. So we'll see if that looks like. So actually this looks kind of nice, and so I'm going to shoot a shot here too. I'm also going to shoot a little HDR shot here to kind of fill in for the lack of sunlight on the front of the building. Okay, so here's maybe another shot that I might get right here. And the type of thing that I might shoot is, I always like to try and see if I can find any kind of signage. And since this is right on the Katy Trail, this is kind of a fun thing to be able to tell a story about whatever you're taking a picture of, and maybe also to remind you, you know, later on, like where this particular building was, or things like that. Nowadays with your cameras, some of them have GPS coordinates built into them, and it will remember the picture. And sometimes that might be a good thing to use too. But in this case right here, I'm just going to shoot a shot of the front of the building here with the sign in it. So just shot the sign. So now I am in the back, you know, back part of the house here, or the mercantile. And as I'm looking at the back part here, I'm seeing, you know, here's this nice old shed or barn or whatever that is, and And then I also see that there's some flowers right down here, and then with the mercantile right there behind it, might make an interesting kind of shot with this little creek here, and just depending on how I compose the picture. Okay, I ended up shooting from a vantage point like from right in here, and so one of the things I want to stress to you is that don't always think of like okay, at eye level this is what it looks like, but make sure that you sometimes bring your camera down low, and you can see right here the added interest that you get from incorporating other elements into the picture, and this really sort of tells a little bit more of the story, maybe a little bit gives of the picture a little bit more romance. Once again, another kind of angle that you can work from is I walked a little bit further back, saw a few more of these daisies, and thought, oh, give that a try too. So here's a shot where I'm composing the right from the Katy Trail, and they have this little kiosk that's right along the trail here in McKittrick, and I'm going to get a shot of showing the bike trail kiosk, and then you can see the mercantile in the background back there. So another way to just kind of bring interest to whatever photos and things you might be shooting. Okay, so now another thing that I kind of see right here is there's the mercantile right there, and I'm kind of framing it in the inside the kiosk from the Katy Trail here, so that might be kind of a nice little shot of interest too. And finally, for one of the shots to just kind of finish up with this little segment here, this is one of the toughest shots to kind of shoot when you're shooting something into the sun, with the sun sort of behind your subject in this case right here. And so it's the face of it that you want to get a picture of is all in shadow. Now, sometimes if you have the luxury of this, you might want to photograph the building at different times of the day, or even wait till the evening and shoot it at night, where you have some kind of combination of lights and also dusk ambient light, and the HDR effect works really well for that too. But what I'm going to do right here is I am going to shoot an HDR shot, but I'm also going to shoot these several exposures here to just try to give you an idea of what you can do to if you're forced to shoot a picture like this. Okay, in a shot like this, you can see that this is this is inside the building. It's kind of a nice wide open space, and there's a lot of daylight coming in, and so like the regular lights aren't on inside the building. So what you can intentionally do here, you can see the walls are primarily a little lighter color, but what you can do here is intentionally overexpose and let the windows bloom a little bit, in terms of the exposure being a little bit brighter. But I'm also going to shoot an HDR shot inside here, and you'll see a plain shot, and then you'll also see an HDR shot. Now I'm in the kitchen, and I'm going to shoot a shot inside the kitchen here. And in the kitchen, you can see it's illuminated by fluorescent lights, and so I'm going to make some adjustments in terms of my white balance. And now that I'm shooting inside, I'm also going to set my ISO up a little bit higher. Since I'm on a tripod, I don't really have to make it too high, but I might set it up at like ISO 400 just so my exposures aren't so long. And then I'm going to set my apertures, like since I'm inside here now, and I want to have everything in focus, I'm going to set my aperture, since I'm using a DSLR, at 11 or 16. I'm probably just going to set it at 16 just to kind of get maximum aperture, and I'm going to shoot it as, as the widest kind of shot that I can shoot. So that's what this scene will look like. And so white balance probably for fluorescent lighting, ISO right around 400, aperture set at around 16, and whatever the shutter speed ends up being, that's what it'll be. So now I'm going to shoot a shot where I'm at just the opposite side of that first shot when I shot in sort of the open dining kind of area. Remember, now that I'm looking at the light here, remember I'm going to take my white balance off of the fluorescent lighting, and I'm going to shoot where I'm going to try where maybe daylight, or I'll probably try a couple different shots, daylight or auto white balance, just to see what the differences are going to be. And then I'm going to also shoot another HDR shot in here too. Okay, so now I'm upstairs, and upstairs is a lot different than downstairs. So upstairs, is like what used to be an old dance hall and a theater. And now they've turned it into a B&B. And it's sort of one of the more deluxe accommodations for bikers from people who are riding bikes on the Katy Trail. So it's a pretty amazing space. But normally, this room is, they will host like weddings and things like that. And so there's usually either tables, or they also have people come in and do dances like contra dancing and things like that. But anyway, just a nice space. And what I'm going to do to photograph it is I'm going to set my camera. So my camera is setting at 400, and you can see right up in here, there's not a whole lot of, well, there's, in the evening, there's, you know, they have these lights that are in here, but right now, pretty much flooded with daylight. And so I'm going to set my camera on daylight. I'll shoot maybe one at daylight, maybe one at a little bit of auto white balance, just to kind of see which one suits me better. I'm going to also keep my aperture at 16. And the fact that it's on a tripod is definitely going to help up here. So, and I'm going to shoot a couple different shots. This shot from here, and then I'm also going to go to the far end of the room and get a couple shots looking back towards this area right here. So there's like a, I guess that's like a futon bed or something. And anyway, this will kind of complete my 5 shots for the interiors. So I have the ones down in the, a couple of shots down in the room below this one, the one in the kitchen, and then a couple shots up here too. If you have a space yourself that you're photographing and you have more than 5 shots, of course, go for more than 5 shots. I just want 5 shots as kind of a minimum. And I want you to kind of get used to the idea of being able to photograph under different lighting conditions, you know, especially when you're inside. And if it's a little bit later in the day, obviously you're going to have to make some adjustments in terms of your white balance to be able to get a correct shot, the correct color in the shot.